Welcome back to the Song of the Trees channel. I'm Elizabeth Ashley, the Secret Healer, and thank you for joining me to find out what is lemon essential oil good for emotions, for mindset, and for spiritual well-being. It is irresistible to me to stay away from my usual research. I don't normally talk about this kind of work in these videos, but the main set of my work is looking at how essential oil molecules interact with neurotransmission in our body. So if you don't know what a neurotransmitter is, it's the chemical nervous system that works alongside the electrical nervous system that take messages from one nerve to another and bring about changes in the body. So a couple of neurotransmitters that you will have heard of, I'm sure, are dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. And essential oils are very clever at being able to trick the body that there's more of them. Their molecules are very similar in nature to some of the molecules in the body, and so they lock to it. The most famous way we can think of that is how THC, part of the cannabis plant, when you smoke cannabis, it helps to lock onto a neurotransmitter receptor called the anandamide receptor. That gives you the bliss hormone, the bliss feeling. Gone off tangent a bit. So that is the main body of my work. Normally I wouldn't talk about that in these videos, but with lemon it's completely irresistible, because lemon is very good at being able to get the body to lock onto, to produce more, and to lock into place levels of serotonin. So serotonin is a really flexible molecule. It does lots of different things. It is fundamental to around about 30 different processes in our body. It does lots and lots of different things. Fundamentally for us though, it's our mood modulator. Now, if you think that contentment really is feelings of serotonin, you know, we feel chill, that's it. Straight away, when you take lemon, it adjusts those levels of serotonin and it settles things down. Now, interesting. If you think about it in the terms of doctor's medicine, feeling happy, feeling sad, kind of feels like something that happens up here. Actually, that's not so. When you think that serotonin is balancing it, 90% of the serotonin in the body is not up here, it's in the tummy. It's manufactured and stored in the gut. So we can see straight away how lemon oil affects the gastric disturbances we were talking about. You know, when we said, gastric infections, serotonin modulates, the tummy problems stop. Fascinating. This idea of the serotonin lifting, we feel more contentment. So how does that play out in us? Well, what actually happens is it settles us. If we're feeling anger, it settles us. If we're feeling sad, we're lifted. We feel more settled. It's very good at making you go, okay, right. All right, I'll deal with it. I'll accept with it. Just let's go with the flow. I'm not angry. I'm not sad. I get over it. That's just what it does. It locks onto that serotonin and it says, right, let's balance you. Face the day. On a mental level, it's very useful for dyslexia. Because I've gone very bright, haven't I? Sorry, the sun has suddenly come out in front of us. Lemon has a real affinity with storytelling. I can remember a long time ago, I was asked to write a book about famous women of history and to put essential oils to them. It was actually one of my favourite books I've ever written. With lemon, I ascribed it to Scheherazade, the lady that told the 100,001 Arabian Nights. Always there's imagination, there's story, there's movement, there's visual perception. Dyslexia, of course, sees completely in pictures. Don't know if you know that. So you and I, well, I certainly think in words. I hear words in my head and everything's done like, I must make the tea now. Is the words, I must make the tea now. To someone with dyslexia, they just see there's tea. They don't have that conversation with themselves. Lemon's very good at being able to say, okay, so let's orchestrate that into a conversation. You've got all of these pictures. Let's get them out there. So it's good for storytelling, it's good for learning, but it's also helpful for taking creative thought and making it into rational thought. Into it's a different way of, it's an easier way for the rest of us to understand, isn't it? Trying to sit out of the sunlight. Very, very helpful for them. And just the same way that it helps them be able to understand what they're reading and what they're writing. So I actually use lemongrass for Dexter. Still got the same lemon smell, but just because I don't use lemon oil very much. But what we do is we have some pencils. I'd be better off if I had them in the shed, I think, that are not varnished on the outside. And so at night we pop it into stand it up, well, actually that way, face down, into the oil, let it soak into the wood, wipe it off, and then he takes it to school. And as he's writing, we have the fragrance for lemongrass. It's a case of, I can do this. If I didn't have dyslexia, that wouldn't be an obstacle. I could do this. So I'm removing that obstacle. I'm removing that pebble, if you like. Very good for using with vetiver. Vetiver says, calm down, slow down, stop spiraling out. If you're starting to panic or it feels like time's running out, very good for settling things down. Lemon, using it that way, says translate those pictures into words, translate those words into pictures, join that communication system up, because they kind of don't have that synapse, do they? Or we don't, actually, I should say. Perhaps we don't. Maybe theirs is a better way of thinking. Sometimes when I see what Dexter's come up with in his imagination, I think that probably my way is the odd way, because atypical. It's uplifting, clearly, but it's very, very focusing. So if you have an inclination to beneficence, you decide, I want to pray for somebody, I want to send healing to someone, I am trying to talk to you, but you're not quite getting through, you're talking on a different plane to me, you're not hearing me. Lemon kind of goes, I'm sending it. It's a projection of healing through to them. Very, very helpful. So just a drop on the palms when you're healing really is an impetus that moves it forwards. Very, very helpful oil. I'm not going to say it's not my friend, because it is, because I do like it, but it's just not one that I use very often. So I'll let you have a look at the slides, then have a look at a spread that I did with the cards, so you can see a little bit about how the Tongue of the Trees cards work, and hopefully by the end of this video you go, I can't live without them, I have to have Tongue of the Trees cards. So watch the slides, the spread, and I will come back in a minute and talk to you about the safety of lemon essential oil. going to run through a quick layout for you to show you the different cards. Now, one of the things that we're not going to tell you in this video, in these videos, is the poem that goes with the cards. But for this layout, we will read them to you just so that you get a chance to sort of feel how the different poems look. So I thought I'd show you the cards. As you can see, lovely little box. I'll show you the other side. Boring stuff, except for cool stuff what I read. Okay, so if we open it up, we can see that the cards just have one logo on, and that is because these originally were Geglé's cards. He's been selling these for a long time in Hungary. Mostly they've been bought by kinesiologists, interestingly enough. They've been doing the energy work with them. They haven't got any aromatherapy background, but they've been able to tap into the energetics of the oils to be able to move emotional blockages. So let's show you. So these come out nice and easy because we've got beautiful little ribbons. And let's get rid of that. So if I said to the cards, what energy do I need? What oils will help me do the best job with these videos? Let's have a... Now, my friend Belinda used these the other day, and she does have a habit of shuffling them the wrong way. So we'll have to hope that they're all the way right up. I'm not doing a good job of keeping them that way. So let's have a look. What do I need to do a great job? So I think, it's up to you how you do it, but I think cut it 3 ways, cut it back. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So first 3 cards off the top. Cedarwood Virginian. I'll tell you why I'm laughing at that in a minute. Rose and lavender. That's a beautiful blend, isn't it? Reason why I was laughing about a Cedarwood Virginian is when Geglé and I came to do the notes of all the different cards, we both went, oh, we've done these cards for Cedarwood Virginian and I don't really know how to explain them differently. And because I was doing lots of editing work, I went, oh, just leave it. So yesterday I did a meditation with Cedarwood Virginian and got the most beautiful, beautiful work out of it. So you must tap into that tomorrow, have a listen to that video and see it was really different stuff that came out. So let's have a look. So if we go to the book, we can see that there's a brown streak on cedarwood, and that tells us it's the woods. So we find the woods. Slowly but surely we find the woods. At the back. Okay, so I'm going to use the other cards just to cover up the other pages, because you know what? Sooner or later you're going to have to pay me for something. So, Cedarwood Virginian. Actually, I'll show you this, but I'll read it to you because I'm hoping that it doesn't turn back to front on you, but it may well do. So, Cedarwood Virginian says, hold strong. Don't be swayed by the winds of change around you. Stand tall. Resist the temptation to listen as the naysayers surround you. Keep focused on the job you have in hand. Remain strategic. Don't veer from tactics you've planned. Listen intently to information on the breeze. Remain determined. Your courage is what makes me pleased. Hold strong. Don't be swayed by the winds of change around you. Stand tall. Resist the temptation to listen as the naysayers surround you. Keep focused on the job you have in hand. Remain strategic. Don't veer from tactics you've planned. Listen intently to information on the breeze. Remain determined. Your courage is what makes me pleased. And I'd forgotten, I stopped halfway through because I'd forgotten this is the only one that went like around. It kept repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. And that taps in beautifully to the determination, doesn't it? I'm keeping on reminding you. I'm keeping on reminding you. I'm keeping on reminding you. So, and actually, definitely watch the video on Cedarwood Virginian, because you'll see just how spooky that is when you see the meditation work I did. Now, you'll also see on here at the bottom of the page, there's the energetics. Now, we're not going to talk about these energetics at all in the video. You might want to go and buy our knowledge base. Now, the knowledge base is completely based on this, and it is a set of lessons on each of the aspects. So middle to base, you're going to hear about that today when Gergely does his blending, so that's there. It also vibrates on the throat chakra. So what does that mean? Within the knowledge base, there is a complete set of information about the different chakras. We do as a lecture on each different chakra, how it affects on the emotional body, how it affects the physical body, how it affects the mental and spiritual bodies, and how that's working. So when we're looking at the knowledge base, this information here describes how the energies move through the system. What energy shift has taken place that we are getting these different physical problems and mental issues. So we can see that cedarwood Virginian operates on the water element and the earth element. And again, in the knowledge base, there's a complete section about, we talk about the about half an hour about the water element, then again about half an hour for the earth element, metal, fire, and whatever the other one is, gone out of my head. And then here we can see Sagittarius. Now, so that tells us that what planetary rulership it comes under. This is medical astrology, and this is actually how I see the different energetics playing out. Some people see it through the Ayurvedic, some people see it through Chinese medicine. This is always the lens I see it through. And usually we'll talk about how it's ruled by the moon or the sun or Saturn and the different trends that we see out. And when we look at an archetype like that, it's like Jade Schutz always says, it's like a metaphor, and that's a great analogy of how you can see the thread playing out right across the medicine. And so you can see that cedarwood Virginian is Sagittarius. So in the knowledge base, we talk about the different signs and planets and also the different houses. If I remember right, Angelica, for example, falls under the Pisces Aries cusp. So that's really quite a difficult one to understand. There's a whole lesson about the Pisces Aries cusp. And then again, Chinese medicine, it nourishes yin. What does that mean? What does it mean? It calms Shen. Shen is an interesting phenomenon all in its own right. It's the consciousness, our mental faculties, our imagination, our emotions, God with a small g, God with a big G. All of those aspects is a complete lesson about Shen and how the essential oils can affect it and change that to move the energy. And then we can see increases Pitta, reduces Vata, balances Kapha. So it's interesting, actually. I do know at the moment all of my oils tend to come out with earth energy. It's quite interesting hearing me do the earth energy lecture because it's entirely about the challenges I am facing at the moment. But if you are somebody who sells essential oils and you're looking for a way in all of the time, that right, you're talking to the person at the school gate, for example, and you can see, she seems a healthy girl, to be honest. She's loving a kid. She seems happy. Imagine somebody who's got a really sing-song voice all the time. Oh, my darling, how did you get on today? Was it lovely? I know. And then child walks off. How are you? To everybody. If that sing-song voice never quite relents, then you can imagine that there's an earth energy imbalance. So any oils that fall under earth energy are good ones to sell. So yeah, if you are interested in learning more about that, ways in, just kind of being able to see, talking to somebody, what might be clues of what's going on with that energetic shift, then head over the knowledge base to have a look at that. So what was our next card? It was Rose, wasn't it? Queen of Roses, as you know. I do love my roses. Let's have a look. So the flowers, I think, are at the front of the book, if I remember rightly. Beautiful pink. Oh, they're both flowers, aren't they? So rose, rose, rose. Damask Rose. I was thinking we'd miss Rose out, but it's not under Duff for Rose. It's under, sorry, it's not Rough for Rose. It's Duff for Damask Rose. I remember writing this one, actually. This is quite sad. So it says, standing by your graveside or sobbing into your pillow, I know your pain. On the days when you feel lonely, worried or sad, I know your pain. Through the nights where sleep seems far away and you feel like you might break, amidst the anger, the confusion and desolation, I feel your pain. For I was there, remember, when you smelled the roses of their love as your fingertips stroked my petals and tried to avoid the prick of thorn. I felt your hopes, your fears, your joy of deep connection. I ensnared it in my scent to help conjure that affection. In my fragrance remember hope. Let my aroma you complete. May scent of celebration heal you, calm you and help you sleep. For through me you are never alone, always loved and open to give and receive more. Smell me, open up and feel safe to feel love once more. Now I anticipate that these will be different for everybody, but that's entirely my dad talking to me. I feel quite choked up reading that, actually. When he died, he gave me a rose bush. My cousin works for a rose bush company, David Austin Roses. I'm sure you've heard of them. He's quite a senior manager there, and Dad arranged for a rose called Noble Anthony to be given to me and my sisters at the funeral. So I go and sit and talk to the rose bush. That's a great reminder that my dad's with me today. So that actually, Dad, that really helps. Thank you. So let's have a look at the energetics. We can see middle heart chakra, obviously. Water. Now, again, as I say, in the knowledge base, there is a much bigger lecture on water, but the energy of water is how it can flow around any obstacle and find a way to fill the space. So that's great. That's lovely. And Venus is obviously the planet of love, but there's lots more to do with beauty and and money, actually. There's an interesting lecture on Venus. I like talking about Venus. Balance is Vata, Pitta and Kapha. If you don't know, Vata is very drying, Pitta is hot and fiery and moist, and Kapha is sluggish. So it brings it all into alignment. But in the knowledge base, as I say, different lectures on each of those. So it nourishes the blood. Well, I've got funny blood, actually, so that's useful to know, Dad. Thank you. Yin and essence. So yin is the feminine aspect. It's very gentle and passive and receptive, and it harmonizes the heart and Shen. We just talked about Shen. So we're going to put all these in a blend in a minute. And so last but not least, the cards have told me that I should go for lavender, which I guess is probably just over the page. Still in the pinks, as you can see. Oh, I remember this one too. Cover them up, cover them up. Can you see? There we go. Lavender's blue, dilly dilly, lavender's green. When you breathe me, dilly dilly, softly you dream. Anger and grief, dilly dilly, softly drift by. Worries and hurts, dilly dilly, kiss them goodbye. When you feel tense, dilly dilly, look for the bees. See how they buzz, dilly dilly, resting with ease. Learn from their hum, dilly dilly, for they all know. Learning to rest, dilly dilly, helps you to grow. Breathe in the scent, dilly dilly, lavender's light. Calm your stressed mind, honey, honey, surrender the fight. Release cares and worries, dilly dilly, I help you to see. Life is so good, dilly dilly, just let it be. Okay, I'm going to let them flow, not force them. This helps, this really helps, you know. I've got to tell you, when I was helping Gerglay do this, he was sending me his notes, and every time they came across it, I was like, oh my goodness, I've got to do the cards. These are really hard. Didn't like my poems at all. Really found them difficult to do, and really, I just wanted to be writing my Melissa book, which I kind of still do, but I'm feeling a bit happier. Now I've got the cards in my hands and I can see them because they really help. Honestly, they really, really help. So, and of course I might be biased because it's my words talking back to me, but hearing the plant and seeing it written down, it's very, very helpful. So, actually I've probably skipped the most valuable part of the process for speed. But when you turn out your cards, if you have got the oils, I would sit and breathe the oil as you read the poem. And that's very difficult to do on this camera like this, but because then you will really hear, you'll have that connection with the plant. It will open it up to you. So top to middle note, as I say, Clay's going to talk to us about the blending. Water, we've just talked about how that finds ways, effortlessly finds gaps to do things, doesn't force it, just gets around any obstacle. Heart chakra again. Mercury, communication, data, information. Yeah, that's very mercurial medicine. We'll talk about that. I know there's a very interesting lecture about Mercury. I originally wrote the Mercury ropes for the pain practitioner program. And so these are quite detailed lectures, about half an hour long, the medical astrology ones, because of course that's my passion. Neutral to cool is the action. Yeah, cooling like the roses. Activates chi. Now again, we'll talk about chi in the knowledge base, but basically it's the life force. You know how we said we talked about Shen? Well, if Shen doesn't have adequate chi forcing it through, then it becomes disrupted. And I always think about it feeling like you're treading water. So the activation of chi calms Shen or nourishes Shen or raises Shen, depending on which essential oil it is. It aggravates Vata. So yes, this is one of my favourite nags. So the world tells you to put lavender essential oil into every massage oil, into your moisturiser, into your bath. So it aggravates Vata. People, it will dry you out. That is how you get dry skin. Aggravates Vata, makes you a bit vapid, a bit dreamy. So all of the time you're like, you know, like the dreamers that wander around on a cloud. If you're not careful, too much lavender makes you that. Pacifies Kapha. So it stops you feeling sluggish, stops you feeling heavy. It's not really directly indicated for constipation, but that shift of energy through Kapha would release not only constipation, but congestion in the sinuses. And pacifies Pitta. Well, Pitta is hot, so it's calming. It reduces inflammation. Anything that's red, hot, angry, it'll calm it down. So there we go. So first, I've got my smelly stick. And really, this is only because then I can stick it down my top and you won't be able to see it. So we could use aroma pendants, we could use massage oil, sniffy sticks, whatever. This is just what works for me, and that's the most important thing, that it's the thing that works for you. So cedarwood Virginian is a fast oil, if I remember rightly. So this is quite a thin distillation. Ooh. And then we'll mop up everything off the table. Dip it up, wipe it up. Oh, it's so beautiful, it's smoky. It's beautiful, and I can tell you the lecture is about tapping into your ancestral line, and given that my ancestral line is full of wizards and witches, that's very helpful. Lots of plant healers coming to my aid. So a bit of lavender. Warm the bottle. You'll notice I cover the thing. It's not because I'm covering the labels, although it's because I can't be bothered going, don't ask me which oils I use, but it's more because it's very cold in this shed, so things get stiff, especially myrrh. Goodness me, when we come to do the myrrh video, I have to warm it up 3 weeks before. And then beautiful rose, Look at the colour of that. Beautiful. It's my favourite bit, you know, was it waiting for it to come out, just seeing the colour. Have I got the nerve to let it drop? I have. Go on, mix, 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 blend. You know, whenever I try and do videos, I always want to have the image of oils mixing, and it never quite, nobody ever quite videos that effectively. I think it would be beautiful. Look at that. Oh my goodness, that is sheer heaven. Just beautiful. So yeah, if you obviously want to buy the cards, there's a link underneath that tells you where to get them from. But also if you want to use the knowledge base, there's a link through to that too. And goodness me, when you start to smell that and you feel all the knowledge base opening up all the different shifts in the body and how they move and how they're executing through the physical body, it's really extraordinary. It's a whole new layer to plant medicine. So there we go. That is how to do the blending. Can't wait for you to watch Gerglo talk about proper blending in a minute. Okay then, safety of lemon essential oil. Quite an easy oil to use, to be honest with you. We just have to be very careful. We talked about the physical aspects of it and how we could use it on a wart, didn't we? And we said that what would happen is it would irritate the wart enough to send it on its way. We didn't want to put it neat on the skin because it would be irritant. Even diluted, it's a bit of a powerful oil. It can be phototoxic in high dilutions, like most of the other citrus oils. So Tisserand and Young recommend using a 2% dilution, and I think that's absolutely strong enough. So then that also avoids the issues with phototoxicity. You can happily go out into the sunshine, and I think that's a very useful thing, because it is a morning time oil, isn't it? It's a wake up and zing, attack the kind of day oil, rather than a I want to go to sleep lavender patchouli kind of thing. So it's good that it's safe in the sunshine. Just be careful with your levels. How does maximum dilution of 2% look in real life? Teaspoon, fill it up with carrier oil. So if we've got a 5 ml teaspoon, that is 20 drops per mil, 100 drops in our teaspoon. So 2% would just be 2 drops in that teaspoon of oil. Can you use it on children? Definitely you can. Certainly for, like I say, things like dyslexia, very, very helpful. Things for confidence in creativity, helpful. So are warts, verruca, all of those delicious things. So yeah, just be careful using it on little babies, because it is quite strong. I actually think as well, think about it first. Say, do I need to put this on their skin, or will inhalation work well? Aromatherapy is absolutely fantastic if you want to tap into the emotional side of things, the mental side, the spiritual side. So, you know, these little bracelets that you can get, or the aroma pendants, or even just a tissue, or like in the last video I told you about how we do Dexter's aroma writers. That's what we call the pencils. So all of those fantastic. Just be really careful as well that you haven't got an old oil. Obviously the one I've used should be in the Natural History Museum. It's so old, there is no way I would put that on my skin. The monoterpenes go, then the aldehydes go. It doesn't smell right, but also it will irritate the skin. This is what causes skin sensitivity in older oils. So really you need to replace your lemon oil about once every 6 months. Otherwise it has a safety status. So easy oil. From here on the borders of England and Wales in Shropshire, along with what we have, 6 ladybirds now have landed on the window in front of me. From me and the ladybirds, I'm sending you on your way over to Budapest to Gergely's office, and he's going to tell us a little bit about how he blends lemon essential oil.
Hello, it's Gary again, and for today we have lemon, and the keyword is contentment. Beautiful drawing, I love the drawing, and I have something for you. Wow, this is a lemon, isn't it, Ellie? Lemon. Just by looking at the lemon, did anything happen in your mouth, in your thoughts? Well, in mine, if I look at lemon, I already start getting to be hungry, first of all. But at the same time, because it's so yellow, it's so bright, and it reminds me of the beach, it reminds me of the sea, reminds me of the Mediterranean, I already start smiling. So what can we say about lemon essential oil? Lemon essential oil, when I'm talking about the perfumery note, that I should say it's a top note, so it's a very volatile, it's a very playful and then living quick oil. And then if I want to describe the aroma, I would say, well, it's funny to talk around circles, but I should say that it's actually a citrusy note, or you could say lemony. Definitely fresh, definitely fruity, definitely zesty. So use it in blends with a couple of the spices like black pepper, but you could also use nutmeg or clove. I think both they go well with each other. You could use some of the florals, definitely. You could use ylang ylang, you could use Roman chamomile, you could use lavender, also classic. You could use geranium, so lots of floral options. You could also use, a bit more interesting is sweet fennel and lemon. But you could also use it with some of the pines, Scots pine, terebinth, Himalayan spruce, Himalayan fir, or black spruce. And it also goes well with some of the resins like frankincense, benzoin. But it also goes beautifully with neroli. Now I have a couple of blends for you if you're interested in it. Just, coming up with ideas with lemon. One is a muscle aches. It's a blend for muscle aches. So the reason is that we want to use it therapeutically, but at the same time we want to have a pleasant blend. So how it goes with what? So for example, a muscle spasms blend could be lemon, rosemary, and peppermint. Now, when I'm talking about the muscles, I for sure would use rosemary, the camphor chemotype, because camphor is actually a painkiller, more or less a natural painkiller. Okay, let's have a look at another one. How about making a detox blend in which we could use lemon, grapefruit, and cypress. Interesting, woody, citrusy combination. Let's look at another one. Let's say I always used it, well, a few years ago with a friend of mine and someone who was dealing with essential oils in England. This beautiful lady, we created a blend for allergies. So we used frankincense, we used lemon, we used patchouli, we also used eucalyptus, I believe it was radiata, and then we also put in black spruce and one more magical ingredient, which was fragonia, and I'm Not sure, maybe you have heard of Fregonia. It's an Australian oil, beautiful, not very much known around the world, but more and more people know about it. And the Fregonia is a fantasy name because it comes from the Latin name, I guess, which is called agonist fragrance. So it means fragrant agonist. So cheer up with lemon, and if you want to go on with blending tips, then join my next video in my probably next couple of days. See you around.
Absolutely love that gurgley. Wasn't that lovely? I really enjoyed watching that. It's so nice to see somebody else's ideas of what to blend together. A couple of those blends I would never have thought of, so I'm excited to have a go. So we're nearly at the end. Just want to very quickly tell you a little bit about the people we've chosen to sell our oils for us. Fragrant Earth are the first company to support us. They're based in Glastonbury, which is the most mystical of places in England, and they have been operating as an essential oil supplier for over 40 years. They supply some of the most beautiful skincare houses in the world, really. When you go into their showroom and you see the places that have used their oils, you realise what good quality products they have, and they very kindly agreed to distribute the Tongues of the Trees cards for us. If you have a look in the below, you'll see a link to buy them. What I'd also say to you is, if we have made you fall in love with this essential oil, they can also send that out to you, and they are beautiful, beautiful oils. And of course you'll save yourself some shipping too, probably. What I will say is, just for transparency, Gurgley and I will earn a commission off that sale. So if you decide to buy from that, not only do you get yourself a beautiful oil, it's a lovely way to say thank you to us for the information that we've given you. But hopefully, most important, get your Tongue of the Trees cards. You will not find a more satisfying way of using the essential oils. So thank you for being with us today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Dexter's going to tell you how in a moment, and hopefully we'll see you on the next video.
You get your phone, you turn it this way up, and then there's a little red subscribe button. Turn it grey by clicking it, and then there's a little bell. Click that and press all at the bottom of your phone or tablet or computer. It will say you will receive all notifications, and then there's a little hand with a thumbs up. Click that, it'll turn it blue and it says added to your liked videos, and there will be comments, and if you want to, you can send a comment and say like hi's to Mum and Gurgley, and then the link to the next video will be in the description below underneath the video. So bye.